Good day to our research instructor, Dr. Atinieta O. Ocaña, to our dear panelists, Dr. Maria Corazon Artatad and Dr. Fritzy D. Dayot, and also to the chairperson and beloved Dean of College of Teacher Education, Dr. Maria Elena S. Mandin. I am Nestle Cañedo, and I would like to greet you all a victorious morning. At this moment, we will be presenting our study entitled Mother Tongue Proficiency and Academic Performance using the Modular Distance Learning, together with my groupmates, Regine Faith G. Bakyal, Hazel P. Koyakot, and Georgie B. Mabolo. At this moment, allow me to present the rationale of our study. The complexity and systematic process of attaining basic literacy skills marks the crucial role of teachers in developing the mother tongue language proficiency of pupils. However, due to the public health risk brought about by the COVID-19, DepEd implemented the modular distance learning. The lack of interaction between the teacher and pupils in the learning process may affect the development of mother tongue proficiency of pupils. On the other hand, limited guidance from others motivates the pupils to acquire sense of responsibility in their learning progress. With this concern, the researchers are challenged and inspired to conduct this study to determine the level of pupils' mother tongue proficiency in the mother tongue instruction and their academic performance in the modular distance learning. The findings of the study will serve as a basis for enhancement of mother tongue instruction in the modular distance learning. The next slide will be the theoretical and conceptual framework of our study with 3 supporting theories and 3 legal bases. Below is the independent and dependent variables of our study. Our independent variable is the level of mother tongue proficiency with the following components: listening comprehension, letter sound knowledge, alphabet knowledge, phonemic awareness, familiar word reading, non-word reading, and oral reading passage. While our dependent variable is the MTB-MLE academic performance in the modular distance learning. And now, this is our supporting theories. The first one is the social interactionist theory by Lev Vygotsky, which states that language develops in negotiating the environment. This theory suggests that language is a byproduct of children's social interaction from birth with the important people in their lives. The next theory is the schema theory by Frederick Bartlett. As mentioned by Bartlett in his schema theory, comprehending a text is an interactive process of the reader's background knowledge and text. This stresses the fact that effective comprehension requires the ability to relate the text to the reader's own knowledge. Lastly is the self-efficacy theory by Albert Bandura, which asserts that children's belief in their self-efficacy to regulate their own learning activities and to master difficult subject matters affect their academic motivation, interest, and scholastic achievement. And now, let us move on to the legal basis of our study. The first one is the Republic Act No. 10533, also known as an act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing in the number of years for basic education, appropriating funds, therefore, and for other purposes. The next one is the DepEd Order No. 57, Series of 2015, also known as the Utilization of Early Grade Reading Assessment or EGRA and Early Grade Math Assessment or EGMA tools for system assessments. Lastly is the Enclosure No. 1 to DepEd No. 32 Series of 2020, also known as the Guidelines on the Engagement of Services of Learning Support Aids to reinforce the implementation of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan in the time of COVID-19 pandemic. And that is all for my part. To discuss the research methodology, here is Regine Faith G. Bakyal.
Thank you, Ms. Cañedo. And now, let's move on to research methodology. Under the research methodology are design, environment, participants, and procedures. Design. The researchers employed the correlational method for the pupils' mother tongue proficiency and academic performance in the conduct of this study. Environment. The researcher conducted the study at Kalangaman Elementary School, one of the schools in Ubay, Bohol. Participants. The research participants were the pupils from grade 1 in Kalangaman Elementary School, Ubay, Bohol, enrolled in the school year 2020-2021.
And now, let us proceed to instrument. The main tool to determine the pupil's level of mother tongue proficiency is the Early Grade Reading Assessment or EGRA tool. The DPED use the EGRA tool to measure the proficiency of primary pupils, particularly in their MTBMLE. It is a test that is administered orally about 15 to 20 minutes per child. Next, procedure. Under the procedure are preliminary, actual, and post activity. In preliminary activity, the researcher sent letters to seek permissions from the college dean and the campus director for the conduct study. Next, actual activity. The researchers went to the respective grade 1 advisors and gathered the EGRA results and academic performance in MTBMLE of pupils in the modular distance learning.
Next, post-activity. After collecting the data, the results were tallied, tabulated, and analyzed the EGRA results and academic performance of pupils that were used to formulate the findings of conclusions and recommendations of the study conducted.
And now, let us move on to statistical treatment. First, to determine the level of pupils' mother tongue proficiency, the weighted mean formula was used. Second, to interpret the level of mother tongue proficiency, the following a Likert scale was utilized. Third, to identify the significant relationship between the mother tongue comprehension and academic performance in MTBMLE, the Spearman rank order coefficient correlation was used. And that would be all for my part. And now let us proceed to Chapter 2 to be discussed by Ms. Hazel P. Cuyacod.
Thank you, Ms. Bakyal. I will now proceed to our Chapter 2, which is the presentation, analysis, and interpretation of the gathered data. This consists of Table 121, 122, Table 2, and Table 3. Table 121 shows the pupil's level of mother tongue proficiency according to the EGRA components. The result reveals that all of the EGRA components got the rating of 4 with a description of proficient. This means that the pupils acquired mastery in all mother tongue primary skills aligned in EGRA components. Table 122 displays the summary and interpretation of the pupils' mother tongue proficiency. The table displays the tallied data from the EGRA post-test results of the pupils in terms of the number of components they have mastered. It reveals that 37 or 100% of the pupils attained mastery of 6 to 7 components, which describe very well. This can be taken to imply that all of the 37 pupils were able to fulfill the assessment very well. This indicates that all of the 37 pupils were determined as proficient in their mother tongue. Table 2 exhibits the results of the pupils' MTBMLE academic performance according to the range from highest to lowest. It depicts that 43.24% of the total number of pupils had the grade of 90 to 100, with outstanding description. The range which ranked second in the academic performance was 85 to 89, which fall in very satisfactory academic performance. On the other hand, there were only 7 pupils who got the rating of 80 to 84, equivalent to a satisfactory grade. Overall, this concludes that 18.92% of the pupils had a good academic performance, and 43.24% of the pupils have an excellent academic performance. This implies that majority of the number of pupils had an excellent academic performance in their MTB-MLE subject. Table 3 reveals the relationship between the level of mother tongue proficiency and academic performance in MTB-MLE. Using the statistical treatment, Spearman rank order correlation coefficient, the computed value was 0.509. Given its critical value 0.279 that is lesser than the computed value, it was interpreted as significant or slightly positive correlation, which means that pupils' level of mother tongue proficiency was slightly direct proportional with the pupils' academic performance in MTB-MLE. Therefore, when the pupils have high level of mother tongue proficiency, it would positively affect their academic performance. And that is all for my part. For the discussion of the Chapter 3, which includes the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, I will now give the floor to Miss Georgie B. Mabolo.
Thank you, Ms. Guyakut. At this juncture, I will now discuss the Chapter 3, which is the findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Let's begin with the findings. After a thorough analysis of the study, the researchers came up with the following findings. First, all EGRA components got the rating of 4 with a description of proficient. This means that pupils acquired mastery in mother tongue primary skills such as listening comprehension, alphabet knowledge, letter sound knowledge, phonemic awareness, familiar word reading, non-word reading, and oral reading passage. Second, 37 or 100% of the pupils accomplished 6 to 7 components with a description of very well, which indicates that all of the 37 pupils were determined as proficient in mother tongue. Third, of the 37 pupils as respondents, 43.24% got the rating of excellent, 37.84% were very satisfactory, and 18.92% of pupils got a good academic performance. The data proves that majority of the pupils had an excellent MTB-MLE academic performance in the modular distance learning. Fourth, the pupils' level of mother tongue proficiency was likely direct proportional with the pupils' academic performance in MTB-MLE, which results to the rejection of the null hypothesis. This proves the point that when the pupils have high level of mother tongue proficiency, it would positively affect their academic performance. Let's continue to the conclusion. Based on the findings formulated in the study, the researchers conducted that all of the pupils are proficient in their mother tongue. Thus, majority of the pupils had an excellent academic performance in MTB-MLE. Therefore, it is reasonable to conclude that the pupils with high level of mother tongue proficiency will also academically excel in the MTB-MLE subject in modular distance learning. Next is the recommendation. In the light of the aforementioned findings and conclusions, the succeeding recommendations are hereby formulated. First, the school principals may conduct more seminars for enhancing mother tongue language as medium of instruction. Second, the teachers may employ teaching methods and strategies to enhance the mother tongue instruction. Third, the pupils may maintain having high level of mother tongue proficiency and develop learning strategies to enhance their academic performance. Fourth, the parents may realize the effective ways they can facilitate the learning progress of the children during modular distance learning. And last, the future researchers may replicate this study to further verify and enhance the factor that may influence the effectiveness of mother tongue-based instruction in acquiring excellent academic performance. And that is the end of our PowerPoint presentation. Our dear panelists, we are now ready to accept your comments, suggestions, questions, and recommendations.